Namaste and welcome to the AIWA channel, Astro in Abi, Oneness in Astrology and Spirituality, bringing in awareness by Abi. Now, there's a question given by Money. I'm sure you guys have heard about Money. You've heard her on my live. She's the one that actually takes on questions from you listeners, and she presents them to me. I've got a question from Money, and this question is, please can you explain how to break habits? Now, since this question was asked to me, it was brought into the AIWA channel, I'm going to answer it from my awareness, but there is many different methods that you can use to break habits. And there is no one perfect way. There is one perfect way for each person. Or there's two perfect ways for each person. Or there's three, or there's four for each person. Or there's many. Or some of you are still trying to find that perfect way. So there is no one cap fits all, but I'm going to talk about my experience on habits, how I've broken some habits, and I'm going to disclose exactly what are the methods used and the time frames they took to obviously overcome that. So in order to explain this here, we got to understand what habit is first. For me, based on my awareness, habit is an action or a thought or a word spoken over a considerable period of time, which now becomes very difficult to not do any longer. For example, a lie, negative thinking, or self-destructive actions. These are common examples. Now, as humans, we are habitual in nature. We are creating habits all the time, knowingly and unknowingly. Our conscious mind, the sun, and the subconscious mind, the moon, whatever it is that we think, speak, or do during the day with our conscious mind, our subconscious mind starts to play out when the sun sets. Now, also habits are formed more frequently during new moons. Whatever it is that you're doing during a new moon, if you are prone to addictive behavior, you gotta be careful as to what you do, how you think, and what you say during a new moon. But nevertheless, I'm going to stick to the actual question: how to overcome habits. So, as I've explained, habits are basically things that you think, speak, or do over a considerable period of time, which is very difficult to obviously undo or stop doing or stop or to change. Basically, it becomes a part of you in inverted commas. It releases a certain kind of hormone, serotonin levels increase based on these actions. Look, it could be anything. It could be, I can't say negative thinking will release serotonin levels, but some people, through negative thinking, they find a lot of joy. And it might seem a bit crazy, but they find a lot of joy that way. They feel at ease. They feel at themselves by thinking, speaking, and behaving in a negative manner, because it's what they are used to. It's your habit. Now, how to break this here? Firstly, guys, I'm gonna explain my way. I first gotta isolate the habit. In order to isolate the habit, I need to first agree that it is a habit. Secondly, once that I'm agreeing that this is a habit, it's then necessary to take action. What type of action? Let's use, for example, the habit of not sleeping enough. Now, a lot of us suffer this year, including me. But how much is enough? How much is enough is dependent on each person's body. But for me personally, me not sleeping enough was a habit, and I actually needed a bit more sleep at some point. And it was absolutely difficult. I can tell you this much, that it was so difficult that I would go to sleep, I'll give myself about 15 minutes, and then I'd get out of bed and start working. This was a long time ago. Now, to break free from this year was very difficult. Sometimes you hit rock bottom. Your health starts to deteriorate, And this is where you can obviously overcome that. But my thing is, why must you wait for something to happen for you to change? And a lot of us wait for things to happen. So how I overcame this is with meditation. I found that meditation is that which stills the mind, brings about the mind to stillness. Once the mind is still, what can keep you up awake? Nothing much. So guys, I'm using this as an example. It was something that happened a very, very long time ago, many, many years ago. I found that meditation is the go-to answer for everything. So to break habits, meditation. To break habits, it's understanding that I am not the mind, I am spirit soul. I am not the mind, I am not the body. It's then very simple to break a habit because I'm not agreeing with the mind. I am not allowing the mind to lead me. I'm not allowing the mind to dictate to me how I should, and spirit, how I should be. You see, I pull back the power from the mind. I pull back the power to me. So to break a habit, fundamentally at its core, it's important to remember this much, that you need to take the power away from the mind. Because fundamentally the habit exists only in the mind. So if that which exists in the mind, surely the mind must dissolve. If that which exists in the mind, surely the mind needs to surrender. Surely that which exists purely in the mind comes the death of the mind. Om Namah Shivaya is the death of the mind. Om Namah Shivaya is dissolving of the mind. It's dissolving of the false self. So Om Namah Shivaya, or meditation, dissolving the mind like salt to water, for me is the most profound way to overcome any addiction, any attachment, and definitely any habit whatsoever. Jai Shri Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Bol.